prosecutions and may release recordings within the law enforcement community for law enforcement and training purposes. I believe this dignified assembly of pastors has the standing to go directly to the judge today, as does every media outlet, and ask for a copy of all law enforcement videos, not just the doctored up 20-second snippet that they insulted the family's intelligence with. School of Government Professor Bluestein has written that practically every judge who has been asked has released the tapes. Judges know their communities. They watch TV. They know the eyes of the world are on Elizabeth City. And my hope is that while all eyes are on Elizabeth City and Andrew Brown, that those eyes would take a hard, long look at District Attorney Andrew Womble. Somebody say his name. Andrew Womble.
Andrew Womble.
Who thought it not robbery to return any calls from the North Carolina NAACP.
None.
Andrew Womble.
Andrew Womble.
Say his name.
Andrew Womble.
Who has been operating like some modern-day Wizard of Oz, hiding behind the curtain of corruption while manipulating the chessboard of white supremacy. Andrew Womble.
Andrew Womble.
Not Wooten, although he's involved, was responsible for the delaying of the viewing of the body cams. Remember him, Andrew Womble, when the election comes around. Again, I say welcome to the Black Belt, the place where the North Carolina NAACP fought hard in 2018 to keep the Trump nominee Thomas Farr from occupying a lifetime seat on the United States District Court for the Eastern District of North Carolina. The Black Belt. Farr had nothing to give and everything to gain.
That's right. That's right.
Andrew Womble has nothing to give but everything to gain if he becomes a Superior Court judge in the Black Belt. We were in Washington, D.C. because we knew what we were up against. And we're here because we know what we are up against. And if any change is wrought, it won't be wrought by power, nor will it be wrought by might. It will be wrought by the Spirit of the living God. I believe when the North Carolina NAACP asked U.S. Attorney General Garland Merrick and North Carolina Attorney General Josh Stein to investigate the obvious cover-up in Elizabeth City, we will want to look closely into who is financing the district attorney, Andrew Womble's campaign for Superior Court judge. And I want to say one thing in closing to you all. Stop focusing and groping for the low fruit.
That's right.
Reach to the top of the tree for the high fruit. because it's the high fruit that ripens first and ripens to fall to the ground. Hear you me. And thank you for listening.
Thank you, Dr. Spearman. Dr. Copeland.
I greet you on behalf of the North Carolina Council of Churches, 18 denominations across North Carolina from toe to heel. And we are here with one voice today. Last week, on the morning after the jury rendered a verdict on the murder of George Floyd, the North Carolina Council of Churches issued a statement. We were cautiously hopeful that the verdict was a turning point, that now we could have real accountability. And then, less than 24 hours later, Andrew Brown Jr. was shot in the back. Enough.
That's right. Enough.
Enough. Now, our statement last week, when we were still cautiously hopeful, had 5 important points. They're on our website. You can find them. Go and look them up. But I will share a summary with you today. We say to all the congregations and denominations we represent, 18, as I said, black and white. Black and white.
That's right.
Progressive and conservative.
That's right.
We say to the 18 denominations, but hear me now, we say particularly to the white denominations,
That's right.
the historically white denominations, to our white people of faith, make dismantling racism a priority. Make it a priority. We can no longer stand on the sidelines and cheer, yay, go, go. We can no longer stand on the sidelines and watch. We must be with our black neighbors in the march. We must be in the protest, but especially we must be with them in the work of dismantling racism. Dismantling a system that continues to kill people every day. We must eradicate the sin of racism at the ballot box, in the halls of justice, and in the halls of power. And if we have to go into those places, as my friend T. Anthony Spearman has asked us to do, then we shall go.
Amen.
I call on my white brothers and sisters to confess, or confess again if you're a little bit woke. Confess again that we have been a part of this racist system. We must repent from passive acceptance of this system and move to active resistance to
That's
this
right.
system.
That's it.
And here, we must accept God's forgiveness and begin the hard work of restoration. May God have mercy
Yes, sir.
on us all.
Amen.
Thank you.
And so you're clear, we speak with one voice. This DA has been inept, incompetent, and is therefore incapable of addressing this issue.
That's right.
I can say it as a pastor. We know he's trying to run for Superior Court judge. And we won't want the media to be fooled. That's why we're saying to y'all, you reported the county lawyer. The county lawyer is just appointed by the county commissioner. That's not the lawyer. That's right. It's the DA that's elected. And in these black belt counties, there's often been an unholy unity with DAs, the judge, and the sheriffs when it comes to black lives might I say brown lives, might I say Native American lives, and even poor white lives. It all connects together. And there is no way out of this, America, except when it is known that murder, assassination, or execution happens, that there is accountability. And accountability must mean arrest. That's what they would do to me if I shot somebody in the back. You get arrested. Huh? Then there must be prosecution without immunity. You cannot have an immunity just because you happen to be a police person. And then people must be found guilty. That's why we need federal laws that standardizes this, because the problem is too often people know even if they get arrested, they're going to get off at the local level. Remember Minnesota, what it took? It took a 9-minute plus video. It took the attorney general. It took bringing a special prosecutor out of retirement. It took millions of people. It just didn't just happen. Too often is the case, is when they go to trial, then there's an acquittal, and you can't charge somebody a second time. There has to be federal guarantee of prosecution if the local doesn't work. Then there's going to be time where there must be payment, but it can't just come from the taxpayers. It needs to come from these killers and their pensions. And then we have to have pattern and practice review, because whenever you see folk do what we've seen now on these videos with impunity, there is a consciousness that it'll be all right. There's a system, there's a certain sensitivity that I'm gonna get away with this and I can do it. There isn't even a second thinking or a third thinking or a question or an option. And too long has it been that you can be shot in the back or in the front with, look, for air fresheners, for selling cigarettes, for being a little child, or for being served a warrant. Those days must be over, and a new reality must begin. And because of the blood, they're in the church. We hate to see the blood. We know the blood costs something. We know when there's a lot of blood, somebody died. We know when there's blood, somebody got hurt. We know when there's blood, somebody suffered. We know when there's blood, somebody's messed up, somebody's lost a family member. But in the church, we've learned at Calvary and in the graveyard that there's some power in the blood. And you can mess around and kill one of us and raise up 10,000 of us because there's power in the blood. The blood fertilized the civil rights movement. The blood fertilized the movement against the war. The blood fertilized the fight for voting rights. And that's the difference. When you kill one of us wrongfully, you may kill them, but we rise in their name. Say his name, Andrew Brown. Say his name, Andrew Brown. Say his name, Andrew Brown. And we are determined that the South will rise, but it will rise not like it used to rise, but it's going to rise in a new day. And this diverse crowd, media, please report this. Look at the diversity, black and white and young and old and Christian. This is the newness of the South. This is the diversity in the black belt that's going to turn the black belt from being a place where too often justice is strangled. Instead, it's going to be a black belt that ties us all together, holds us all together, and brings a new day. We are so bothered that this boy is dead. But that means his death can't be in vain. Now, I've said this, and I close and take questions. I know down south y'all think we move slow sometimes. We got a little drawl with what we do. But let me be clear. We do move slow sometimes, but we root deep. We grow deep down here. And whenever, Keith, we lock in, we can be fighting each other. We can be fussing with each other. Kill one of our own. Kill them wrong. And the blood will cement us together. And our roots will go deep. And we will stand until change comes.
Yes.
Are there any questions from members of the media? And identify yourself if you're a member of the media. Yes, sir.
Hello, I'm Aaron Thomas with WRL.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Go back to what you're saying as far as you want the state attorney.
All right, here we go.
With the state attorney general to respond, yet he did release a statement today, and I'm going to read it in part. It says, quote, "From my office to play a role in the prosecution, the district attorney must request our assistance. My office has reached out to district attorney Andrew Womble to offer that assistance, which he has acknowledged."
Well, that's part of it. But remember, we said these folk are what? Inept. And what else? Incapable and incompetent. That's what you got in this state. Now, the powers that be know how to get stuff done. They did it in the Duke Lacrosse. They got it taken over. They did it in the Jonathan Farrell case. Huh? So what we're saying is there needs to be every push. Because the folk down here are inept and what? Incompetent and what? Incapable. So you've heard Dr. Spearman say the North Carolina NAACP, repairs of breach, all of us are making the request. Secondly, the preachers here are saying they have a right. He gave you the law to have standing, to have those tapes released, fully released. They got the city ones on this, but we need the actual body cameras. Thirdly, the General Assembly, regardless of party, could pass right now.
That's right.
Right now, it took 120 hours for them to get a 20-second snippet. Think about that. 120 hours to get 20 seconds. Well, in 20 seconds, the General Assembly could go in and pass the law that guarantees that the body camera footage all across North Carolina is public record. We demanded that be done. And lastly, we demand that the DA not hide anymore behind the county lawyer, right, Keith? Right, y'all? But he should step up now, right now. But if he doesn't step up, we encourage the governor, the AG, in every way possible to do everything that's, and I won't say it with everything else because we don't often know, but what we know, things can get done. Because right now, what we got in North Carolina and the whole world is seeing a group of folk that are what? Inept, incapable, and incompetent. And his name is Womble.
Let me just respond to the statement that this young man has made. And who do you represent?
I'm with WRL.
WRAL. I think I would like to press media to begin to take a look at reframing the questions that they ask. That the Attorney General made that statement is one thing. But did you ask him what it took for him to come out with the statement?
Are you asking me that question?
No, it's rhetorical.
And ask the DA, why isn't he doing it? Ask the DA, why, if it's proven that they are what? Inept, what? Incapable, and incompetent, that he doesn't turn it loose. He doesn't even want to get on the camera. He's sending the county lawyer, who's not even the DA. So evidently he doesn't want to deal with it. So, turn it over. Can't find the sheriff either? The two W's hanging out together. Lord have mercy. They're AWOL. They're inept, incompetent, and incapable. Yes, sir.
Can you comment on the FBI opening up a civil rights investigation into the shooting?
Amen. That's enough comment. So be it. Because the people here are inept, incapable, and incompetent. Yeah, the FBI, Department of Justice, that's what FBI is. Governor, AG, a man is dead. It's shot in the back. On camera. Multiple, and we didn't even know this until one of the reporters asked the other day on Saturday, Keith, what did he say? Did y'all know there was a SWAT-like team? What's that SWAT-like team? That means assault. Who are you going to get? Somebody that had no history of violence, no gun, no drugs. Got out of the car shooting. This is Eastern North Carolina, and Eastern North Carolina needs to speak to the whole world, but before the world, Eastern North Carolina, that's why everybody's uniting together. Everybody, I talked to Mel this morning, everybody's uniting together. Because this is about Eastern North Carolina folk, we live here. I was born here. That school, Elizabeth City State University, that's where black and white teachers used to meet prior to 1969, 68, undercover to train and prepare for desegregation. Because many of these counties in this area didn't even desegregate until 68, 69, 70, or 71. 14, 15 years after Brown. This is where you are. In the South.
Yes, sir.
And this should cause a complete looking at the South, starting right here in North Carolina. Pattern and practices. What's been going on? Because if somebody thought they could do this and get away with it, what else have they done? What else? What else has the DA sat on? What else has the sheriff sat on? Why is he so hungry for the Superior Court judge? A black man sits there now. Why is he so hungry for it? With the power that we have, that he just told you anybody could go to the Superior Court judge and they could request. So we are clear. They are inept, incapable, and incompetent. His name is what? Womble. Sheriff Wooten and who?
Andrew Womble.
Y'all hear it? Not our Andrew.
Nope.
That's right. We say the name of our Andrew.
That's right.
We challenge those others.
That's right.
They have been AWOL. They've let this go on. It's 100, I'm closing him through. 144 hours today. You think about that. Now, it didn't take them 20 seconds to end a life they didn't create. With a soul in it that will live through eternity. And for 144 hours. No arrest, no charges, no film, no body cameras, no way. They're too inept, they're too incompetent, and they're too incapable, and we won't stand for it. We're closing now, but we're going to ask if you have any questions about the case, we turn it over to Attorney Harry Daniels for any statements he made, and we will close this press conference at this time.
Thank you, Reverend Barber. And on behalf of the Brown family, we appreciate the clergy standing in solidarity with the family. It means the world to the family and also to the legal representatives. Y'all have any questions at this time about the case, about what's happening right now?
Have you received any updates about the request from the sheriff for the body cam footage to be released? Have you gotten any indication?
No, I know no updates. He's AWOL. No updates from the sheriff. You know the questions? Have y'all seen the video get released? No.
The city one?
The city cameras? No. Well, the city cameras were released earlier today, just before we went into the meeting, and it shows a pickup truck full of deputy sheriffs riding on the back of it. As soon as it round the corner and blocks Andrew in, they get off the truck shooting. Get off the truck shooting. We didn't see that yesterday. That's why they redacted.
That's right.
They didn't want us to see that. Yeah. So even if he had time to try to do anything, they didn't give him time. Yeah. They got off the truck shooting. And like I said yesterday and earlier on today, he was trying to save his own life because they had no regards for it. And anybody would do. When you begin shooting at you immediately, try to save your life. And when he tried to do it, they shot him in the back of the head.
Especially in this climate. You see a truck full of folk, you don't know who they are, but if you go back in the history of this area, this is also the history of the slave patrols. And when I hear that description, it sends shivers down my spirit. For a bunch of folk coming at you on a truck.
Think about Ahmaud Arbery in the truck chasing him down. That's right. But on this truck, armed men with assault rifles. These men was the men who took an oath to protect and serve the citizens. They was out on the search party. City street cameras. The city has street cameras.
Have those been released?
Yes, they're out.
The city released.
They have been released. They are out. Some new agency, I think CNN may have them as well.
And let me, I don't know about anybody else here.
One less, right here.
I don't know about anybody else here, but part of the patterns and practices that I talked about is how the day just before they were getting ready to release the body cam footage to the family, they declared a state of emergency. A state of emergency because they knew what was on the tapes. And they were expecting the family to react in a very violent way, which we don't normally do, but that's their way of setting us up. What's her name? CNN, Coates, Laura Coates, described it as a Pavlovian response. Right. After things happen and blow up, just like before Chauvin's verdict, they started boarding up the city, expecting the worst. That's right. And that's what they're doing here. Don't allow them to suck you in. That's right. Be who you are, and continue to peacefully demonstrate.
That's right. That's right. Let me ask, we can't really touch like we want to in COVID. Back in the civil rights movement, when they sang certain songs, they would hook up, elbow to elbow. We hook up and want you to know all across this world, this is one voice. We declare that this case must be taken over by independent investigators. Yes. They are inept. They are incapable. And they are incompetent. And while somebody wanted to declare a state of emergency for people that have been non-violent, I want to say that, not just peaceful, non-violent protesting. They may not be peaceful in their spirit because they're hurt, but they're non-violent. But I want to say they may have said it's a emergency, but we as clergy declare today a moral emergency. This is a justice emergency. That's right. And we have to have the powers of this state any way possible to take over this case and do it right. And the DA ought to do it himself. But if he doesn't, they know how to put pressure where they need to put pressure. Because they are inept. They are incapable and incompetent. A man is dead whose life cannot be given back, but whose memory will never be forgotten, and whose blood, imperfect like all of our blood, but that blood has the power to bring us and seal us together in the fight for justice. God bless you and love you.
Hey, if there's anybody that want to go to the bridge in Camden, it's shut down again today.
That's right.
So feel free to go over and support the protesters out there. You know, we try to shut it down twice a day. So any clergy can go to office. There she goes. She's right here. Love to see. Would you know?
There he is, right there. Make a change. Greer.
I know you. I'm still living, believe it or not. I'm still living. You're right.
I think that what you're actually